Hey, it's Callan from Authentic Lifestyle Design, and today I want to talk to you about not overcomplicating your life. So, you hear the expression all the time from most people, which is, I'm busy, or I'm so stressed, or I'm so worried about these multitude of things all happening at once, right? You realize you have complete control over all of this, generally. And you have to tie up so many loose ends. You have to work, you might have a family, you might have hobbies, and all these other things that fill up your life. But you have to understand that sometimes with complexity, the solution isn't always acceptance. Sometimes you can drop things, or sometimes you might have to drop things in order to move on to something bigger. For example, and I've said this before, this is a really hard thing for me. I want to do everything. So I want to learn guitar, I want to learn Japanese, I want to go and do more fighting stuff, I want to work on this channel, I work as a teacher, I want to learn so many different things, different kinds of dancing and exploring and making music and producing music and all these things. But it's not possible. I can't do that. And the process of me doing that would be like spinning plates. For example, you get one plate spinning and then you can move on to another one. But if this plate isn't spinning and I try to start spinning three plates at once, that's going to be awfully confusing. Or if I'm spinning 7 or 8 plates at the same time, then the one over here I haven't paid attention to is going to start falling. So you're better off just focusing on a few things. Now, this ties into your relationships as well, okay? And figuring out what things in your life you don't have to do that you do now. Alright, so an example is in a relationship of any kind, if a person you're spending time with that isn't a dependent or isn't someone you have to see starts throwing a bunch of drama at you or starts trying to complicate your relationship, you have generally all the rights to walk away from that situation or to tell people not to throw that at you, because the reality is that you treat and you train people how they can treat you. So if people treat you poorly and you accept that and you don't defend yourself, same as if someone attacks you physically, you don't defend yourself, now they know they can attack you physically, you're not going to do anything. The same is mentally or verbally. If someone throws a bunch of stuff at you and you don't defend yourself or you don't own it, if someone starts throwing a bunch of crap at you, so for example, say your friend's like, oh, you never answer your phone, and you never do this, and I'm really angry and really annoyed, and you have to fix it, and all the rest of it, then you can reflect and you can say, well, am I doing the things that they're saying? Maybe you are. Maybe you have to work on that if you want to keep that person in your life. Or maybe as well that person is just overreacting. And you have to look at it both ways. You have to assess it. And that goes into every area of your life. How could you free up some time? For example, say you're really busy. What are you doing? Break it down. Break your days down. So how much time are you actually spending doing productive things? And say you're working 10 hours a day, so you're really busy. You're working 50-hour weeks, but you have your weekends. And you're really, really busy, right? Well, say you're not at an office for that 10 hours, then look at your work and say, okay, how can I make what I'm doing more efficient? Is there ways I can do this that makes it faster, that makes it more effective? That's a con of being a perfectionist in every area of your life as well, because generally not everything has to be perfect. Especially, physical maths and maybe building a bridge, you want to do that perfectly, but other areas of your life, not so much. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your life doesn't have to be this perfectly well-oiled machine. And you don't want to complicate it anything. Same with money. For example, say you're working and making $200,000 a year or some crazy amount of money, but you're spending 60 and you're working 100-hour weeks to make that $200,000. Well, do you need $200,000? Are you earning that money because you need the money? Do you want to retire early? Do you have some big plan? Or are you just earning that money because it's socially what people say you should be doing? You have to figure out what it is you're doing and to make sure that you don't overcomplicate things. And that comes with knowing yourself, knowing your truth, and knowing what it is you want to do here. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just kind of cruise and they don't even introspect into that stuff. They don't even dig into that stuff. They don't take the time to even sit still and get to know themselves because they're so overstimulated through technology and through being busy all the time that they never actually sit down and contemplate these things. And that's not a few people, that's the majority of people on this planet right now. So what you can do from there is essentially look at your life, look at where you're wasting time. What are things you're doing that do not serve you? And that doesn't mean you have to become this hustle freak either, where you're just working all the time. You need to have downtime, but what are you doing in your downtime? And is that fulfilling you? You know? Are you sitting there playing video games just because you're bored and you've got nothing else to do? Or are you sitting there playing video games because you're authentically into that and you made time for that hobby? Because they're different. Are you procrastinating and wasting time with something like video games or movies or things like that? Partying too much? Or are those things serving you? And are those things like nice outlets from the rest of your life? Because there's a difference between them. Addictions is the other one. Make sure you don't become overly addicted or dependent on anything or anyone, because that will limit you, that will restrict you. And as far as growing and evolving, these things will change, and you don't want to be held back by any addictions. You want to keep relatively free, and you want to keep in control, because that helps. And then you want to be in your masculinity as a man, which also means that you want to be in control in your life. You want to be able to, like I said in a previous video, you want to be able to feel, but you don't want to be controlled by your emotions. And that's really important. And it's worth looking into, because life is complicated, and it's like there's all these different ingredients that go into your life, and I try and break them down using my own metrics, which is time, money, relationships, purpose, your environment, and your health. And you really start to look at things properly. You start to look at how are you spending your time, and who are you spending your time with, and how are you looking after your body, and are you living in the moment and being present and being happy with what is? Are you grateful? Are you expressing gratitude? But at the same time, are you planning and designing and building something in the future that's going to be deeply fulfilling? Because no one's going to do that for you. You have to do that yourself. And you know what you want. And if other people tell you to go and do things that you don't want and you follow that advice, you're never going to get to what you want, because you're spending so much time doing those other things. So you just want to spin a couple of plates at a time. I'll give you a rundown in my life. So I've got a few plates spinning. I'm a teacher. That's one plate I'm spinning right now. This is my main job as a teacher. Then I'm making these videos. That's a second plate I'm spinning. Then I'm doing a little bit of music as well, which is a third plate. And then I'm doing some martial arts training, which is a fourth plate. So they're my main things. And whilst I do explore other things, they are the main four components to my life right now. And they're what are important to me. They're my primary focuses. So you got to figure out what yours are. And as well as that, it's fine not to like what you do for money. It's absolutely fine not to like your job. But if there's no plan to move beyond that, or you're not trying to build something where you make money that's more fulfilling, then you are kind of missing the point. You know, there's a real difference between someone who's working for $20 an hour, like in a kitchen or something that they despise. There's a massive difference in mindset. Someone's doing that, but in the background they're studying, or they're building a business, or they're doing something else. And somebody that's just doing that and they're depressed and they're not actually trying to escalate and to move out of that situation. You don't want to make things overcomplicated. You want to keep your life simple. You don't want to invite drama into your life if you can't. There's a very good quote from a guy named Corey Wayne, which is no drama allowed, or drama-free zone, things like this you hear, which is where you essentially don't engage with drama unless absolutely necessary. So if someone's trying to gossip, or someone's trying to stir the pot, or all these things, simply ignore it, or simply remind them, I don't do that, I don't care about those things. Now, there's times where drama is important. Sometimes you have to have serious conversations with people about really serious things. And in those instances, drama is okay, but you don't want to have unnecessary amounts of drama in your life. Because again, you don't want to complicate it. You want to keep things simple. You want to keep your life as enjoyable and pleasurable as possible. And you want to be a beacon to other people, and you want to have good people around in your life. You want to be this beacon of positivity. It's attractive. It'll attract people to you in all different ways. So if you gained any insights from this and you see what I mean by not overcomplicating your life, and there's other dimensions we could have explored here, but for time, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with anyone you think it might find helpful as I'm continuing to build up this channel. And apart from that, enjoy the rest of your day.